The Art of Adventure. Today we're going to be talking about how to run an adventure and business retreat. This is not actually 5-Minute Friday. I think it's going to take us a little bit longer. Let's call it 15-Minute Friday. And I've just finished running AdventureQuest in Bali. And I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an inside look at how a week-long adventure and business retreat happens, how it gets pulled off, because everyone would love, right, to get paid to go to an exotic location and go on adventures with several of their closest friends. It sounds delightful. There's a lot of work that goes into making this happen. So I'm going to talk about some of the main things that you might want to consider when running an adventure retreat. This is the third one that I've run, so I'm starting to get some more experience. I'm starting to work out the kinks, and hopefully you can learn a little bit from my mistakes, my discoveries, things that don't always work out. And there's always something that doesn't work out. And there's always something that is way more amazing than you expected. It goes both ways. Okay, so at the very beginning, the first thing that you want to think about is getting the right people at your retreat, because it's a privilege, right, for people to take an entire week to spend with you, to pay you, to lead them through some sort of transformative journey, adventure retreat, whatever it is targeting. And you want to get a really good group of people. I call it getting the right people on the bus. It's like if you want to have an amazing party, right? You get a bunch of awesome people and a good location, and then pretty much it's going to be amazing. There's some details to sort out from there. So the first thing is, who's it going to be for? In my case, with AdventureQuest, it was experienced entrepreneurs who wanted to have more adventure in their lives, and we were working specifically on moving to the next stage of their development as an entrepreneur and owning their personal power and practicing courage. So these are already successful entrepreneurs that are ready to leap to another level of success, income, reach, connection, whatever it might be for them. And we use the adventures and we use the workshops to shake things up, to have them get way out of their comfort zone and expand their mind so that they know they are possible of way more. So I knew that Bali was going to be a good location for this because I had done lots of adventures. I had scouted many of the adventures available on the island. I had climbed the volcanoes, I had done surfing, I had gone to the beaches, the jungles, all of these things. So we ended up doing canyoning. Some of the best canyoning in the world is in Bali. Lots of rappelling off cliffs while a waterfall goes over your head, or jumping into holes of deep pools of water, or sliding down slippery rock surfaces. So I knew the adventure options were really good. Bali has a lot of retreats, so I knew there would be available space for us to stay. A lot of retreat centers and villas. We ended up staying in a 5-bedroom villa. And there are lots of people that I know here, people that could come in as either a co-host, a co-facilitator, or as a guest presenter. Interestingly, I had 3 podcast guests from the Art of Adventure as my 3 guest presenters. Colleen Schell, who's been on the show twice, Nick Wood, and Andy Austin led intimacy for entrepreneurs, life coaching, and a branding workshop, respectively. So I already knew the people who were coming in to help lead the events. And of course, I led about 4 sessions over the course of the week and was participating in all the adventures. For the schedule, I determined with my assistant, Cassandra, who I'll get to in a second, we determined that we would do Adventure Day, Villa Day, Adventure Day, Villa Day. And on Villa Days, we would do workshops part of the day, focus hard in the morning for 3-4 hours. And then the afternoons and evenings would be for massages, relaxing by the pool, and recovering and getting ready for the next day of adventure. So we were recovering from our physical challenges on certain days, and we were recovering from our mental challenges on the physical days. So plenty of rest included. The villa that we rented came with a driver and a chef. So the meals and the transportation were taken care of, which was great. for finding the villa and communicating with the attendees about their dietary preferences, their flight schedules, submitting information like their shoe sizes for the canyoning gear. All of this was done by Cassandra, who helped me plan and organize this retreat. And this is something that she has done before and had experience doing, and had also been to Bali, so she knew the location. And so I was able to turn over many of the detail-oriented parts to her so that I could focus on things like planning my workshops or selling the trip. So to run a retreat, you need to have people there, paying to be there, or it's not worth your time to be there. And so usually half of the attendees of AdventureQuest are existing coaching clients. And this is a benefit that I offer them, that they can attend these adventure trips at cost. So it's a huge benefit. Generally they're saving thousands of dollars on these adventure trips, and they get to spend an additional week with me. Our normal coaching sessions, we're checking in regularly, but this is a full block of time that they get to really spend with me, and they can ask me questions about their business, about their life throughout the entire week. So it's a huge bonus for them. And then the people who are not clients are generally paying in full to come and experience this amazing trip that I've put together. So you have to sell those spots. And generally that means putting it out on your social medias, inviting people on your email list, inviting people on Facebook, inviting people in person. And I find that because these trips are quite expensive and you want to make sure you really get the right people on the trip, that personal conversations end up being the best, both for explaining the trip to a potential guest and for you assessing whether they are the right fit for a group. So even if you advertise and post about it on Facebook, your email list, on the podcast, for example, that will probably just build awareness and lead you to a conversation. And then when someone finally says yes, that's probably, because it's a multi-$1,000 trip, that's probably going to be within inside of a conversation of you saying, I think this would be a really awesome trip for you to go on. And then they say, yeah, let's do it. So when you set the price of the trip, there's a lot of things that you're keeping in mind for your budget. You're keeping in the cost of the villa and transportation and meals and adventures and all of these basic things, but you're also including things like, how much are you paying an assistant? How much are you paying in credit card fees? How much are you paying in tipping for your adventure guides? There's a lot of little things that you want to include in the budget so you set the right price, because you definitely don't want to lose money. If you can break even, that's ideal. And if you can make money, a lot of times people recommend setting it at $100 per day per guest. So if you have 10 guests, you're making $1,000 a day from your retreat. So if it's a week long, then you should aim for a $7,000 profit or something like that. That's a rule of thumb. And you also want to look at, is there any long-term profitability options from your retreat? Are you going to be able to acquire a new client, maybe for your high-end coaching group package or something like that, as they get to know you by coming on your retreat? And so, if you have 10 people on your retreat and 2 of them become long-term $20,000, $50,000 clients, that can be worth much more than the retreat itself. So a retreat is a great way for someone to get to know you even more. I've had multiple clients come from joining AdventureQuest. And there's so many details to running a trip like this. There's multiple things happening each day. There's multiple different attendees who each have different dietary preferences and different things they want to try to get out of the event. And so you're catering to lots of different people, which is, one, it's really important to have a schedule. It's really important to have people helping you out, a co-facilitator, an assistant. In my case, I had the manager of the villa who was based in Bali, who was helping me make things happen. I couldn't have done it. I had probably at least 10 people helping this event in different areas, and still it was tiring for me to run a week-long adventure trip. not only am I climbing volcanoes for 10 hours a day or canyoning, getting tired like the rest of my attendees, but then I'm also prepping for the workshops that I'll be leading the next day, and people will be asking me the same questions over and over about things that are important to them. When's dinner? Will there be showers at the beach? Whatever questions that people are asking. And so you're constantly responding to people needing something from you. And that can be very tiring too. So if you have support systems like the schedule, we have everything scheduled, and we know the driver's going to pick us up, so I don't have to worry about that the morning at 5 a.m. before we go climb the volcano. Stuff's just going to happen if you plan it well in advance, so that it's as smooth as possible for you if you are leading the event. One thing that was really important for me to remember, once I got the right people on the bus, I said this mantra to myself: the wisdom is in the group, meaning I don't have to be the sole leader. Everyone else in the group attending this adventure and business retreat was a really high-level, successful person, and we all had the chance to lead at different times and to support each other. And I tried to enable the group as much as possible to really create a strong team. And that's specifically why I did canyoning the first day, because it's one of the most challenging activities that really brings people together. And it also takes some of the pressure off the leader as being the sole dispenser of knowledge or wisdom. And in general, it allows people to feel more confident in the decisions they're making and participate more fully in a retreat. And I always leave some space for something unexpected to happen. Somebody could get sick, and this was amazing. We had a week-long trip. Nobody got sick. Nobody got injured. Everyone stayed happy, healthy the entire time, which has never happened before. And oh my gosh, it was amazing. And it made things flow so much more smoothly. But there was one evening where we had a totally unexpected, unplanned, unscheduled trip to a black sand beach with a bonfire. And then we went out to this amazing burrito place afterwards where we get to meet the chef and hang out. And it was such a perfect moment in the trip, but it was not on the schedule. It was suggested by one of my co-facilitators. And knowing when you have to stick to the schedule, like we have to be down from the volcano by dark, so we can only spend 35 minutes at the top resting. Knowing when to be flexible and knowing when to be strict with your schedule is also part of the fun and the challenge. And I think the most important part is that you as a leader are enjoying the trip and encouraging and keeping this positive attitude, and you're just enabling everyone else to enjoy the trip. So there's personalities to deal with. If someone's complaining or if someone's lagging, it's your job to lead the support of that person so that the rest of the people know, okay, this person needs our love and support and encouragement right now to get through this, and maybe later they will support me in a different way. And this keeps personalities, like we all have personalities, right? And conflict can arise. And if you begin with understanding and support, it usually goes a long way to preventing any major personality conflicts between the members of your group. All right, I think that's a pretty good place to stop. I know there's lots more details. I mean, I just spent the last several months thinking about this trip. This is what's coming to mind right now, and we're almost at the 15-minute mark, so perfect. So as I continue to reflect and debrief on my own trip and how we can make it better and more profitable and easier and all these things, I think first of all that I will continue running adventure trips for entrepreneurs. The blend is so perfect. Doing these physical challenges, climbing a mountain, learning to surf, all of these things are so helpful in building confidence or opening up your eyes to see that you're capable of way more than you ever thought possible. And it's so applicable to business. And then adding in experiential business workshops on top of that. The formula is working really well. So at this point, the next one is probably going to be in the Ozarks. Again, that's in Arkansas and southern Missouri, which is where I'm from, in the United States. And I think that's going to be in mid to late September. So if you didn't get to Bali, then I highly suggest you come to the one in the US in September in the Ozarks, which is great. We have rivers and mountains and caves and all kinds of great things down there if you've never been there. And hopefully that's helpful for you to hear how I plan this event and some of the behind the scenes of what's going on to make an adventure quest possible. Of course, you could also run events with different themes in different locations and pick exactly how you want to run it and who you want to have and what they're going to be getting out of your retreat. Thanks so much for listening. Now it's your turn to go out there and be adventurous.